covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Mernier.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the latest edition of the Inside the Walls podcast as we keep going into our off-season episodes. And sooner rather than later, we'll be talking about the in-season stuff because we got plenty to discuss on what lies ahead for 2023. Zach Kyleman, as I've said, alongside, of course, my good buddy, pal, co-host, the man on the opposite side of the screen. It is, I pointed the wrong side, but whatever. It's Jim Mernier.
Oh, hi, Jim. How you doing?
I know. I did this way. I'm like, Jim's here.
You were over here. You're the one that flipped the screens.
Well, I mirrored it. Well, I usually I'm on the left, so that's
okay.
It's all my fault. I should have pointed to the opposite shoulder because of camera mirror. For those watching the video. By the way, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Might as well just do that while I'm at it, so you can watch us make these goofy mistakes or laugh about it. And click that bell, as a good buddy of ours says. It builds morale, not only for you, but us too, when you subscribe and keep the things notified for yourself. Also follow us on social media at InWallsPod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up on the latest episode updates and updates from the league that we share and analyze when they come down, including the new 2023 schedule that is out much earlier than recent seasons. Besides just us, people have been praising the fact that the NAL, with new teams as well, they got it out before November. We have a full 17-week schedule set for next year already out.
Yeah, it's last year. It didn't come out until almost February.
I'm gonna have to redouble down on that, but it was definitely same year. Like, it wasn't like we're into the fall and we're anticipating it. Like, they had some delays, and I think there's some more things up in the air at that point. But this year, it seems like they have locked down and said, okay, we're gonna cap this and we'll focus on 2023 now. Because they've already said, there's already been some rumors, I can't say much on 2024, but there's already a few rumors out there for next year that might be discussed. But they're like saying, look, we have our slate for 2023. We like our 8 teams. And they want it, and they got it done. You know, they scheduled all it out.
First off, this is big for not just organizations in the league. It's big for the fans, so they can see that the league is being very proactive into the future of the NAL. Seeing that we are about literally going to be playing legit arena football come March 1st in Columbus, Ohio. Or Columbus, Georgia. Columbus, Ohio. See, it's what happens when college football season happens, ladies and gentlemen. When you say Columbus, I think of the Buckeyes this time of year. Give me in March and say Columbus, and I'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But also, it gives the organizations time to ticket promote, packages, season tickets, all of that way in advance. I do know 2 organizations that are going to be launching ticket deals / packages within, I want to say, before Christmas time.
Nice.
They get season tickets rolling, and I believe having a schedule already out gives these organizations a chance to push that forward. And having a schedule out this early, we can look at it and go, oh, intriguing, very interesting matchup. But then again, like every schedule, week 2 matchups will be completely different than week 9 based on how the teams play during the season. But there are key matches. But having the schedule out this early benefits the league in many ways because there's not a lot of question marks leading into the season. We know who's playing who, what's going on. We know who the kickoff game of the year is San Antonio and Columbus. So we see that. The question is, a lot of the people want to know, is a question that it's always been a question about arena football leagues, indoor leagues, is there going to be a emphasis on production, like TV wise or something like that? That's been the chatter on all the boards. The NAL is focusing on themselves. Let's just throw that out of the way.
Right.
The schedule release is good. All the rumors that you're hearing or reading on all these chat boards if you don't see the rumor or anything on our official Discord page, Inside the Walls, it's 99.9%. It's just someone throwing crap on the wall and see if it stinks. Stinks. Yeah, it does stink if it's crap, but if it sticks on the wall. But yeah, I love the schedule. How it's, yeah, a lot of people say it's a little back heavy on a lot of the schedules. Like Jacksonville closes out the season, I think 9 straight games in a row without bye. But we're getting a full even schedule, so there's no two teams with two more games. Everyone's playing a legit schedule with bye weeks, so winning percentage and games back won't be a major factor this year because how the schedule is set up this year, you get 3 bye weeks, 14 game season, top 4 teams make the playoffs. So literally that makes harder to get in the postseason this year. It means the top 4 teams who get in are legitimately teams that deserve to be in. So it's going to be intriguing of who gets in. But the schedule overall is balanced. And the main advocate last year, a lot of these people, fans, were why does Jacksonville have 2 more games, or same as Carolina, while everyone else played 12. So now everyone has 14, 3 bye weeks, 7 home, 7 away, and top 4 make the postseason.
Yeah, and look, you want to have equal amount of weeks, not only I think for fair competition, but also you get same amount of home field opportunities in these leagues, same bye week structure, so you don't have to worry about, say, Carolina, limping into the playoffs. And credit for that team last year; they were talented as hell. But it makes you wonder a little bit. I'm just putting it out there, not to diss my Albany fans, but it does make you wonder if there is a little extra time for these guys to heal up, if maybe that things change. Otherwise, I just think in more of the fairness, we're glad that it's a united front. All 8 teams are saying, yes, we want this schedule, these bye weeks. We're not going to have any variance. We aren't going to We're not going to jump the gun like some did last year on what they're announcing, and they got it done. And to emphasize more how important it is that we're seeing this in October. So last year they announced their first version of the schedule December 21st, 2021. So put that into account. Just that alone, that's 2 months earlier. That's 2 extra months. You can say we guarantee these days, these sales are going to be for specific dates that you can sell. There's no hypotheticals going into it. You aren't having to be, as I would say, a little bit, tame in terms of talking for season ticket sales. You can tell people these are our dates. You can get all these games specifically for these specific arena dates right now with maybe early bird specials or maybe, pre-sale buy-ins, and then the other thought on it is you can possibly start single game ticket sales earlier than last year, because single game tickets, we harped on this last year. They started way too late in the year, and credit, there were some good sales numbers by the end of the season for the league, but it really makes you wonder if they have, say, that 2 extra months now, maybe you can start the single game ticket sales maybe 2 months earlier this time. Get those people that don't have that money to throw, a few $100s at season tickets. Which, arena tickets are already extremely affordable. Don't get me wrong, in the professional sports scene, but there are people that still they're like myself, for example. I still am only I can only go to so many games a year, so maybe I'll buy 2 tickets for these 2 dates. And that fills up the arena. Plus you still can get the season ticket guys at the same time. And then if you want to put in this to account, and credit, things could change. I'm not sure how much it will, but the NAL last year, they did have an update to their schedule in February and altered a few minor things with that whole setup. I don't know if that'll happen again. I don't know if it will, but arena dates do change and things like that. So it is a caveat, but nonetheless, all of it's out there, and it's an equally set up schedule for everybody that gets 3 buys, 14 games, and we're actually starting the season about 2-ish weeks earlier than last year. April 1st is the kickoff this time around, not April 23rd. So beginning of April, it's NAL football time, baby.
You know what's kind of unique? I've noticed this from indoor football compared to outdoor. How in the National Football League, the national the Super Bowl champions are usually the ones that kick off the season. They're usually the ones that host opening day and banner raising. And it didn't happen last year in the NAL. It didn't happen last year. I think in the other leagues that the defending champions didn't kick off the season. They were always midway, they were later in the weeks. Again, this is the same year. San Antonio and Columbus kick off. In Columbus for the week 1, and the Empire won't get a home game until the 16th.
Right.
That's 3 weeks into the season. So that's unique, interesting. But of course, the Empire hosts the Lions in their first home game on the 16th. So a little bit of a homecoming right there with Levesque and the Lions going up to the Empire, New Manas. So that'll be an interesting matchup. But it's kind of because I've seen people on the chat talk about why it's unfair how the Empire don't hold a home game right off the bat. Well, remember, folks, in these arenas, they're attendance. Not a lot. If an indoor football team owns their own building, which is very rare, like really rare. I think the last indoor football team that owned their own building, I think was like San Jose.
It's so extremely rare.
But that's when the SaberCats were part owners for the Sharks in San Jose. That's the reason why they own the arena. It's very rare. So that's the reason why the scheduling is. And you got to look at the other events / venues are in these buildings. One thing that's very difficult to schedule these games is look at the future, the schedule for these arenas, especially in Jacksonville. We have like a crap load of concerts coming in March and April, from Taylor Swift to Carrie Underwood to I want to say, who's the singer that sings Rocket Man? Elton John. There we go.
Elton John, yeah.
There's a couple. They're coming here like. That's the reason why you see these schedules in your arenas. If you look at your home arena, especially down in Orlando, like all the big concerts you skip Jacksonville, they go to Orlando. And I'm surprised Orlando still has room to have home games. How popular that arena is down there. But yeah, it's not because the NAL doesn't want them to open up the season. It's just that football teams are not the attendant; they are a tenant of the building, and especially the Empire's first game on the 16th against the Lions. And most likely that's a banner-raising game because, you're going to have a former coach return, and you're going to have a former owner return with the Columbus Lions to the building. So I think that's going to be a big festive day up in Albany. But what I liked about this schedule, unlike what happened last year, is that you're not going to have teams make repeated trips to extreme distances. Like Albany went to San Antonio twice. They were the only team that went to San Antonio twice last year with that distance. Yeah, Orlando did it, but Albany and Orlando are Orlando's a lot closer to Albany than Orlando is, and travel issues from Albany. So I like how everyone has equal amount of road trips. From what I could tell by the schedule, no one has a 3-game road trip. So they're never out home. They're either 2 games on the road then home, or they're a game a home, a bye week, and a game on the road. So you're never 2 weeks, you're never 3 weeks out of your home building. So I like how the schedule's set up that way. So remember, it's attendance. Like arenas, they know where the money is, and unfortunately, in our league, and especially in the ECHL and the hockey leagues and the AHL, Carrie Underwood, Ketcha, Celine Dion, NSYNC, whatever, I'm going to throw them back. They will put 16,000 to 20,000 people in the building. But our arena fans, we love our sport, we can only put about 8,000 in. So 20,000, 8,000. It's basically telling Zach right here, will you like $20,000 or $8,000? You're going to take that 20. So that's the reason why. But overall, the schedule is what it is. We can look forward to events. Like there might be a potential event that me and Zach may be going to kick off the season, probably, because now we can actually plan it because it's that far in advance.
Yes.
We don't have to wait. Should we? We don't know the schedule now. We do know the schedule, so we can make plans. Of course, as everyone knows, and I've been reiterated by this, I do have championship weekend off this year, so I will be going to the championship game. And Manas, I'm not going to say who's going to host it. I don't want to get that. But by the way, I know we don't take shout outs, but Manas did a great show with Commissioner Chris Siegfried earlier this week. Go listen. It's on the Albany page. Great interview. I appreciate it. It was great. Whoever's doing their social media over there, they're doing pretty good. They're better than us right now, but
No, they're awesome.
yeah,
I love the stuff coming out of there. I love I love just the show, like getting off season stuff right away.
mhm.
You know, it's kind of refreshing. It's not always you see that with any indoor arena team. So
The question is this: is Gaz and Levesque going to have a rivalry between the two this year, or is Levesque going to be, or is he going to start his own show down in Columbus?
could you imagine?
Yeah, that'd
he
be
just
unique.
he find oh my god, I could see it now. Yeah, that I could see a scenario where he does start it up. Let me think about who I think I know who he would pick too. And I love this guy here, Richard Holdridge, who does the play-by-play,
Hmm.
or he's on the play-by-play. I think he's the color actually, usually
Hmm.
if I remember right. And I feel bad if Richard's watching. He's like, dude, I do the color. I'm like, trust me, I got my words here. That would be who would do it, because you have to do it where it's a person that does the broadcasts for the team,
Hmm.
coupled with Jeff. So he'll go on the first broadcast of Richard, and they'll be like, so you are the new and improved Tom Goss." And then you'll see
And then
Goss respond.
they're going to see Gaz message us. They're like, "What the heck, guys?"
Like, bring it on, Jeff.
It was a good run, my friend. It was a good run.
Ooh, that makes me wonder too. Will you see Goz take over for Levesque at like the seaside smoke and grill shows for the season, where it's like they'll call Jeff a traitor.
But that would be awesome, because what's funny about that is that, you know how Casey, the owner of the Columbus Lions, kept going on the Manas's coaches show throughout
Yeah.
the year and bashing Manas? It will be now Levesque doing that to the guys.
Yes. Yes.
It'd be, people are here like, "What are you guys talking about? Go look at past Manas's coaches shows. There's always Casey bashing them, and now it's like how the tables have turned out. It's gonna be Levesque doing that. That's gonna be awesome,
Yes.
funny to
Oh
fall."
my god. I could see it now. I'm rooting for that. But like that's so what we're getting this year, cuz I mean with Columbus having that whole flip around, I think it just enhances what the two teams already had, I feel, with beef against each other anyway. Sans Jason Gibson being there, but credit, now all the Albany connections are together and they could all talk smack to each other back and forth. McKinney's coming to town.
I
Master
forgot who
beats
mentioned
Apprentice beats the
this.
master.
I forgot who mentioned this. It was pretty funny. You look at NAL's landscape. Everyone, when you think of Jacksonville and Carolina, you think of the two same identities.
Mhm.
Two teams that are basically players that played on both teams, basically. Now you're going to start looking at Albany and Columbus the same way.
Yeah. I can see that.
But the question is will a player like a Sam Castronova, or let's just say if he does come into the NAL, goes to Columbus compared to Albany? It'd be unique, but again, Castronova, I still think he still has his XFL thing, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got the draft pool set up, which
So.
the last I understood and that's been said is that supposedly their draft is coming up the 16th and 17th of November, but there's been no official word from the XFL yet, so kind of waiting to see if they're going to make an announcement, because once they do, then, you know, hopefully he gets picked, hopefully he gets a shot. If not, I hope he comes back to Albany and, you know, goes back for his another awesome season. So
No, I'm just gonna say this about the XFL, and I love The Rock. I love how they're doing everything. I'm getting bad vibes. It's been 2 months, 3 months now, and the vibes are getting worse to my side. I'm like, I'm not liking it.
yeah, my short analysis on this, just to keep it sweet and not to go too
Yeah,
overboard.
that's why I just got bad vibes. About
Yeah, no,
it.
I'm glad you look. We're mentioning just because, hey, like Sam's in this and stuff, but yeah, that I've had a weird vibes with how things there professionally, or at least not professionally, but like PR wise and media wise have been handled. And that's saying of much.
Yeah.
So,
But still, if Sam gets a chance to play in that league, congratulations, Sam. He deserves it. The guy proved it
Exactly.
every single game last season in the NAL. I just want to say, I'm just getting bad vibes off of it, but again, we covered the National Arena League, not the XFL or the USFL. Well, you do USFL
I
too,
mean,
but strictly NAL here. So yeah,
of course. So here's something that I want to touch back on the schedule. Some interesting nuggets that you'll want to take with you. Here's the bye weeks, by the way. Something you'll notice with the trend for the bye weeks. A lot of this is indeed front loaded for bye weeks, as Jim mentioned. Only 2 teams get buys anywhere post week 7, and that is Columbus and Carolina. Both have a bye week 15. Otherwise, every other team, all your bye weeks will be done by week 7. So you'll be some of them will be done by week 6, actually.
yeah.
So you're not. So Jim is definitely saying correctly that there is going to be, for some of these teams, some massive stretches where they'll go. But I guess in the sense they get to also get more time early season to retool if you want, say something's not working. So there's that caveat. Albeit, yeah, I mean, I imagine this is part of, the difficulties of getting a schedule down when you are generally the minor tenant of arenas for the most part. So it gets it out there. I feel I'm still glad, by the way. I think fans should still be happy the schedule's out. Players might be a little like, it's front loaded, but at least I get some breaks, compared to last year. Like I said, if you're in Carolina and Jacksonville, you're probably thrilled you get some bye weeks this time around if you're signing on. So props to you. And if you're if you're Carolina and Columbus, you at least get that promise of, hey, I got 2, and then I'm going to have one at the end of the year. Something to keep an eye on, because with Iron Man, and if either one of these teams are playoff caliber teams for sure, which there's possibilities for sure with Carolina, and Columbus is signing on a bunch of guys right now, that bye week will be essential to recover some of the beatings that the body will take during the season. So really want to keep an eye on Carolina and Columbus, seeing if that helps them out maybe for that end of season stretch run going into that playoff weekend of July 29th.
Well, bye weeks are nice because last year, especially here in Jacksonville and especially in Carolina, everyone was having 2 bye weeks and they were just going through the motions. You can tell Coach Resinalo in Carolina, he was being strategic, like having players take a week off and just saying that they're injured, and actually they're not injured. They're just giving the guys a day off or a week off. Now you don't have that. Now you actually have designated bye weeks to help you recoup. But the teams that have all the bye weeks earlier in the season, I think midway through the season, they'll be the more fresher teams. But when it becomes crunch time towards postseason time, they'll be the ones that are going to be struggling a little bit to get off their high end almost, or depending on if one of these teams that doesn't have a bye week in this later half of the season is just kicking everyone's behind, they can rest players they want in the later weeks so they can get ready for the playoffs. But I would like to have the bye weeks more spread out, but we got the schedule at least. We know what's going on. So
right. And like I said, like we said, I think this is just one of the caveats of we're getting the schedule out. There's arena dates that are in place. 17 weeks, and plus you're moving it up earlier, so you have a lot more to account for that you didn't, I think, last year with it being expanded schedule this season. I'm thrilled that it's 14 games, by the way, so that we can, I guess more football. And, from some of I'm pretty bullish on, the league getting even better returns in attendance this year based on just this, and also just some of the momentum that the league ended on last year, I think also helped a lot.
Yeah. Look at there. Excuse me. I have a cough drop in my mouth because I'm recovering from a cold. I don't want to hack on the mic. No, it's not.
Don't do that. I then have to cut that audio out, and I'll have to re-listen to where it's at and go like that.
But I lost my train of thought.
Focus.
You got to admit, Orlando had almost near 9,000 fans in their last home game. Jacksonville was still, again, averaging around 6 to 6,500 a game, which they do. But you saw spikes in attendance, especially in San Antonio and in Albany towards the end of the year. Now that you have the schedule out, it gives these ticket managers and these teams and organizations time to go out there and sell the product, get people on the tickets now. So we're not in week 9 and we got an increase in attendance. Fans already know the season's coming. Here's a schedule, and they know, we got to be here March 8th. We got to be here March 1st for the game, and you'll expect to have that 8,000 fans in the building, depending if it's in Columbus or San Antonio or Orlando, Fayetteville, or West Texas over there in Odessa. So it's going to be unique how each organization will go for, how they're going to promote. But I do know usually if history tells history, well, I was going to say if history tells a tale, it does. Every arena football team in the history has always had Christmas packages, and we're getting close to Christmas time, so keep on the lookout. I'm not saying who, I'm just saying that a lot of teams do that for Christmas. So,
I am banking on it. And again, you get 2 months now, so unlike last year where the schedule comes out the 21st, and then you're going, all right, now throw it out there. Now you're like, oh yeah, we can market this on social hard. And again, you have definitive dates you can tell people. It's not hypotheticals. It's not saying, well, we're expecting it here. No, you can tell people. They'll be like, oh, good, I'm buying something, and I know it's going to be this time, day, and place. Which, speaking of time, day, and place, something else that's in the schedule, some of you noticed, is there's a much larger emphasis on Friday and Sunday games this year. Kind of having the spread out of the weekend. It was kind of dabbled in last season a little bit. But it looks like they're kind of moving around with the weekend. And I think there's twofold on that. I think last year it was kind of mentioned, I think, to us that they wanted to start moving the games around and kind of diversifying it. And B, we also been wanting this so that people can tune in and the viewership numbers on their YouTube page can get a little bit boosted too. It is a challenge if you are a diehard fan to watch all these simultaneously on a Saturday. Credit, it's arena sales first, so I got to put that emphasis out there. But for those folks that are like the several hundred to 1,000 that one a week that tune in for games, this kind of helps that case out too. So I'm happy in that regard. That being said, I have seen some people that are going, oh, darn it, there's a Friday game. Darn it, there's a Sunday game this year or something like that. And so I guess you get pros and cons. I like it overall. I think you should have it where you use the whole weekend to its advantage, especially in the spring and summertime. Later in the summer in particular, families get summer vacation and all that. They have a bunch more time that way too. So why not? I like it.
Hey, if they're not complaining about the NFL schedule being like that, why complain about arena football schedule being like that?
I'm taking it. There's no college football either. Saturdays are not occupied. You can get it. I mean, the whole weekend in the summer, for the most part. I know spring it's a little different, but summer for sure. Like you can get out and about and go do some stuff. I mean, I don't have no issue. And like I said, for just the viewership angle of it, which isn't always talked about as much, because again, in arena sales matter more to these teams right now. It helps that viewership audience a bit more. It makes you say, okay, I can engage more with these brands and teams an entire 3-day stretch every weekend of this said season between April through early to mid-August. So I dig it. I dig it a lot. One other caveat here. I did mention this a little bit earlier as we were talking schedule. Playoff weekend starts weekend of July 29th. That is what is the plan, and it's going to be the exact same setup as last season. They're tentatively setting the championship for the weekend of August 12th, so you will have a bye week again like last year, where the two championship teams will get 2 weeks to prepare leading up to wherever they are hosting the championship. And again, for this setup, the NAL doesn't have a neutral site game, so it gives whoever the host city is time to then set up, sell the tickets. The NAL gets to help sell the tickets too. And so that strategy continues again for 2023.
What's the good old saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hey, look, I give, and plus again, look, I think there's argument for neutral site I've seen from people, but I think at this level, I think you just want to put on a really good game. And we saw last year, like when I went to Albany last year, it was definitely their best attendance of the season. Mm-hmm. It was a rowdy crowd. You're rewarding that team that gets the top seed for a hard fought year. So I'll give them credit there. And again, the sport for us in particular, I don't think it's large enough yet for us to justify a neutral site, add the extra cost of getting everybody out there and negotiating an arena deal for a neutral site type of game. And I say this because we saw this in the AFL, and they bailed on that idea because of the exact same things that I just mentioned. It's not big enough yet for that.
Neutral site games do not work for arena football. We've seen the AFL do it. If it fails to attract fans, it's not because of the game. It's because it's not the NFL. It's not college football. Yes, you have fans, but you don't have that amount of fans that will make that travel.
Right.
Usually in neutral site games, you're expecting at least 2% of each fan base to arrive at that location. That can fill a 60,000 seat building. At 2% of an arena fan base can range from 400 people to 2,000, depending on the fan bases. And a lot of those people won't make a travel to a neutral site city for a game. I think it's if it was a time for the arena football to do that, it was in its heyday, and that failed in its heyday. So,
yeah, we have a bit ways to go.
Agreed.
As what you're saying, and what I think we all think. Like, there's diehard fans of this sport. I think arena football has some of the best fans in any sports level that I've been in. It's part of the reason why I love it. By the way, it's just these people. They fight for this thing. It's like it feels like the best of local meets like professional type of fandom. That being said, it's still an extremely niche sport for the most part. People know it exists, but it is definitely not where it was back in the late 2000s and even somewhat when it was revived in the early 2010s. So we got a ways to go. But the NAL to me is very much one of, if not the league holding the flagpole and saying, we are going to make that charge to try and bring it back to where it used to be. So we got ways to go, but there are definitely there's things that's going really well. Neutral site game to me, I don't think you need at this time. You hope someday to get to that, but right now it just makes more sense to do it host team. And I dig it. I'm really thrilled that the schedule's out this early and we can talk about this in October. In doing anything like this.
But as the off season progresses, based on what players go where, we will find what games are marquee matchups that will be unique. Yes, there's some matchups that pop up, like we just mentioned 2 of them about Empire's first home game and the kickoff. But we're not. Yeah, the rivalry. Yes, we did. We know those games in the first battles of the Texas. But honestly, we can't preview these matchups because we don't know who's on these teams yet.
Yeah.
So as the offseason progresses, maybe we'll do a schedule breakdown of the season. We do have the guy on our our Discord, JPen, who gave us a breakdown of top 10 games of the 2023 season, which he did an incredible job. Yes, good games, but a lot of question marks because we don't know who's a Shark, who's a Cobra, who's an Empire, who's a Gunslinger, who's a Mustang. If it's a city name, yeah, we know. The rivalry, yes. We know. Columbus and Albany, we know, yes. Orlando, Jacksonville, yeah, we know. Those matches happen. Basically, that's how we'll be previewing the season. But right now, we don't know. But what we do know is big player signings that are happening so far this offseason. So I have made this banner because I think these 2 guys deserve their own banner. Stars return to the goal and Gunslingers. Almost said the Gold Slingers.
Gold Slingers.
Whack! What are you hitting me with? Are you throwing gold at me? The goal is like got freaking Mike Myers in there. Solid gold. Khalid Rashad and Philip Barnett returned to the San Antonio Gunslingers. They were the main 2 weapons on their almost postseason finish to the last season. But again, Khalid Rashad returns, and now with the introduction of nets, he will become not just a weapon, he's going to become a lethal weapon for the Gunslingers this season.
Oh man, I was thrilled to get this news about him as well. I mean, like I said, Rashad returning, Philip Barnett alone, who came back with the Gunslingers later in the year And I think really with Robert Kent getting things locked down, they had a special year with those three dynamic with that dynamic receiving trio that is.
Mm-hmm.
Plus Barnett's going to be playing linebacker again, and he did a pretty solid job, I thought, last year in that role. So that's the thing. Still waiting on to see if Kent will be back. We'll kind of in a holding pattern, but it looks like they're trying to get most of their main stars back, because even besides Barnett and Rashad, Pierre Turner's coming back too. One of the best running backs last year in the NAL. Coming back as well, as also a really good job playing linebacker. So some big names. I mean, San Antonio, they want to load up. I mean, we talk about momentum. When we talked about like end of season fan momentum, the Gunslingers and the Predators were two of the fan bases that really hit their stride at the end of the year. And I really, with a full season of John Wayne's ownership under the belt, with like off-season prep and even seeing what they're doing with like graphics and social media right now, there's a lot of potential. This could blow up even more than what we saw come the end of the year.
Oh, San Antonio is a lot of question marks for them in the beginning of the season last year, and they came out of nowhere halfway through with a switch of the ownership group, and they just became one of the more lucrative products of the NAL, in my opinion. But also another big signing comes from the city of Greensboro. Zach Brown Band is returning to the Cobras.
Hey, I had a funny interaction with him because he had mentioned Ziegler coming back, and he kind of implied he was back, and I was like, and I DM'd, was like, "Oh, you back with Carolina?" He's going, "Hey, now, I still got to talk about this," but no, he can't. He's back with the Cobras. Something that was interesting, if you saw the signing details, he is not going to, at least according to his transaction, he's only going to be playing linebacker from what it looks like. And he even posted that it sounded like that direction. Now, credit, that could change, but I mean, there are 3 specialists now you can go on defense with, as well. One of them has to be a lineman, by the way, but you can, in theory, put a linebacker back there, like at a Mac or Jack, and make them a specialist if you want along with the corner. So, something to keep an eye on as the offseason goes. We all know Zach Brown is an excellent linebacker. Also is a pretty good fullback too. So if they do revert back to him, I mean, they're in good hands if they need to go to him for an Ironman situation. Great job having him there. And then Carolina has another key star coming back too. Got Micah Robinson coming back. So I'm
just saying, like, well, the original, a lot of these key players, Zach's coming back, Mike is coming back. You can see Khalid coming back. Albany's basically returning their whole roster right now based on what's going on.
Yeah, I know another Carolina signing that it confirmed to me he's returning. I don't want to spoil it because I want the league to announce it. But when that comes out, you're going to be going, oh, damn. Okay. So good job reloading up or coming back with pieces from last year. But I will leave that nugget out there that there is a signing on the horizon that will hit the transactions that people in Carolina, at least in Greensboro, will be very pleased at seeing return. So just throwing that out there. You'll want to keep an eye on the transactions as the month goes on, And speaking of that, because it's the 26th, remember the key date of November 1st? That's a week away. So free agency is going to get even more insane depending on maybe some contract negotiations or, players thinking about where they might want to go instead or weighing their options. That's coming up pretty soon.
So I've had this question DM'd to me. I think you may have got it too on our Discord. And I want to put this as a banner for us.
Okay.
And this was, I wanted to get to this question because it's good. The first big QB to join the NAL.
Well, I mean,
I think Castronova is that one, but he might
nice.
he might be in the XFL. But who returns? Bain, does he return? Does Mike Fayetteville return? Does Arvell Nelson return? There's a couple of them. Does Grady decide, I'm going to do this one more time?
Man, I don't know about Tommy. I mean, maybe that's very, very, very distant. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think last year was kind of the hurrah. if
So what
anything.
about the offensive coordinator up in Indiana?
Can you sway him one more time?
Yeah.
Even though I know even though we both have been told that he's like retired at
Yeah,
this point.
he's done.
But I guess if I'm looking at like last year's roster, realistically, based on just what I've seen. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, if you're the Sharks, I think Arvell would be great to have back. Just what you got from him last year.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, it all depends on their contract that they have with him, and if they were doing multiple years. Which again, I mean, it's arena; it's not usually multiple year deals. I think Mike Faithful has something to go back for. If they don't get, for example, Arvell, I mean, his year was kind of, he had basically a one game and then spurts every now and then. I wouldn't mind seeing him get signed on to Jacksonville if they have as a option. He was looking into the USFL at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get signed on there, but he did have at least a tryout to kind of show off his skill set. So
Faithful is a NAL starting quarterback.
Oh, he is. He absolutely is. There's no doubt about that.
Well, and also you got other people out there like a Warren Smith. Does he become a starter somewhere? I think honestly,
I'm pretty sure Warren's retired though. I thought that last year was his hurrah from what we had talked.
It could be. Then, yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one thing about the arena scene. Oh, these players, I'm retired. Are you sure? Yeah. 2 weeks later, they're signed somewhere. I'm like,
The football itch is strong.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Tell you what, I think Jonathan Bain is the one that, if I'm going to say big QB signing that might be coming, I don't have anything fully on that yet, but like, that's the one I'm like, I could see that realistically being the big QB signing that hits first on the transaction wire. Robert Kent kind of up in the air. I hope he returns, but again, he's definitely
veteran.
He's definitely a veteran. So that is not any guarantee there. Arena, you can maybe get away with a little bit more because it's quick passing, less beating up in terms of sacks, but that's up in the air. Who knows?
Yeah.
I imagine the Gunslingers would love to have him back at least for another season to kind of keep the momentum going. And then maybe 2024, if that doesn't work out, they look for someone else. But, I'm leaning Jonathan Bain. I think he's the first big signing that comes across the transaction wire.
You say Jonathan Bain. Who you think, though?
Who I think? Like in terms of team?
I think if he comes back, he's coming back with Carolina.
I think Carolina, and it's because James Fuller's there.
Because the relationship they've had in the past,
right.
which he's had on this show before. Well, he's
exactly.
before, so.
I think if you are a quarterback, and here's the thing with any version of football you play, and especially at the lower levels, you want somebody that I think not only you can succeed the best in that offense, but it also amplifies and I would say enhances your skill set. We saw last year, up until Bain was knocked out against San Antonio, he was an MVP candidate in this league. And he showed it off that he had those spurts going into the playoffs. It's just, I think people unfortunately are remembering, if you're a diehard fan of this league, how things ended in Albany last year. That's not Jonathan Bain all the time. That is mostly a outlier of his performances. So I think he comes back, and him and Fuller, now that Fuller's coaching the entire Cobras organization, I think that they come out with some vengeance and try and maybe exercise some demons from the end of last season.
I'm going to say the first big quarterback signing, as you know right now, Darren Daniels already signed, so that's not.
Yeah.
We can't say that's big because that's already. I'm going to say it's going to be Mike Faithful.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to. I think it's a big quarterback signing. If I had to guess, I guarantee you it's either Albany or Fayetteville. Because it's closer to where he's from in the Jersey area. And Albany, I think he knows Albany a little bit better than other quarterbacks probably. He's a solid quarterback, but I think he'll be the first one to go down to be signed, in my opinion.
I do find it fascinating you say Albany just based on how that whole situation went down last year with the trade,
Yeah. And that's all. A lot of chaos there from both sides. from the players to the organizations to the overall operations. But I do believe because how the game is, one season to the other, the narrative will change.
Sure.
So I don't think there's nothing that's going to hinder um, a, a reunion of sort. But yeah, I think Faith will be the first one to go. Now, there's going to be guys that come in this year that we have as NAL fans have no clue who they are, and they'll make a name for themselves, just like how we didn't know who Robert Kent was, but we knew what he did in other leagues. He comes in to San Antonio and helps San Antonio improve, especially down in Jacksonville, like Malik Henry. No one had no idea what Malik Henry's type of game plan was until we saw what he did. And the other leagues that came in and started getting better, then goes to the Carolina and does what he does in Carolina. And of course, did they let him go for Grady? I don't remember that.
I know that. Well, I know Bain had originally been kind of put on the side
because of his injury. Yeah,
signed because of the injury.
Yeah.
It was a technicality that they had done it for, and then when things didn't go,
Correct.
When Tommy got injured on his own performances and he was healthy again, they brought him back into the fray, slid Tommy onto IR, and then there you have it.
But I do know this: November 1st, ladies and gentlemen, keep your Twitters on ours at NWASPod, Discord, whatever. Not Discord, whatever. It's Discord, Inside the Walls on Discord. There we go.
Yes.
Because November 1st, you're going to see a lot of bigger players sign with the NAL or vice versa, because that's when players can sign with other teams. And you will see you could see a lot of movement between the league because of this. So they can only sign players that are currently under contract or rights are owned by the team currently. That ends on the 1st. Once the 1st hits, it's legit free agency.
Yeah, everything's a free for all is what'll happen, and it's been said a few times, like you can't have agents really contacting your coaches yet or anything. You have to be on a holding pattern. I mean, Coach Manas actually said this best on his own show. Fans, if you want to encourage players, go right ahead. That's not against the rules. It's just you can't have coaches and agents talking to each other right now. If they're on a different team, because you're basically giving the organization from last year the first right of refusal / period to get their talent back if they want, or if they feel like they have a good relationship, they can get them back again. So that's the whole reason that goes on right now. And it makes sense. I mean, I'd rather, for some, like I said, some of these teams are already getting their guys back beforehand. Like I said, San Antonio, I mean, they got their 3 big trio of specialty players already re-signed. So, they wanted to come back. They're getting that done, and it helps bring core guys in. Then November 1st comes around, then you can have a frenzy, and it's going to be a frenzy. Things will definitely be flipping all over the place, I imagine, this year. Especially more locations now in the league.
More locations, yeah.
Mm-hmm. New places, new
things.
But
that's like how it is with all of professional sports that we follow. Season really doesn't really kick off until I take that back. It doesn't kick off until free agency begins. Once free agency begins, that's when the season kicks off.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'll tell you one with the quarterback wise. I only bring this up because I just thought about this when we were circling with last year and comparing to this year with new teams. West Texas, because there's a lot of hype West Texas. I'm looking at the QB class of J. Campbell, and especially last year's QB for them, Taylor and Shaw. Because we've heard a lot of good stuff about Shaw coming out of West Texas. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some highlights here in the near future and seeing how he adjusts to the level of the arena game.
Yeah.
Because right now, preseason wise, he's at least out there, I think to many, their starting quarterback at this time.
Well, that's how we thought with was it Javon Kilgo?
Yeah. I mean that whole situation. I mean, Jesus, talk about a time when it wasn't John Wayne owning the Gunslingers. That was a completely different situation there.
It's funny how this time last year we were questioning on San Antonio was who's on San Antonio's team and what team they're going to be. Now you look at San Antonio and go, holy crap, they actually have two faces of the league.
Yeah.
You have Kali Rashad and you have Phil Barnett. Those are literally faces of the NAL. And this time last year, we had no idea who Kali Rashad was. We knew who Phil Barnett was with his history with the Albany Empire and the Caroline Cobras, not the Hurricanes. Hurricanes are NHL.
Yep.
And they play in a totally different city than with the Cobra spread. But yeah, I think I've seen the highlights of Campbell with his time in the Texas series when the Warbirds were over there. Solid dude, guy can sling him. There's no issues about quarterbacks in this league that can sling the football. The difference is the Texas series was based off of outdoor rules. The indoor rules, especially, or the arena rules, are completely different. So it's going to be an adjustment period. We saw that in San Antonio. Once they brought in Robert Kent, everything started slowing down, and they became a better team as the season progressed. We're going to see the same thing over there in Odessa for the West Texas Warbirds.
Right. You know, I will say I really want to start seeing Fayetteville signings. Personally, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't had any come across the transaction wire yet on the league's page.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen anything on social yet. So, I mean, I'm assuming, Coach Gunnings and company, they have their own plan here. I'm not doubting that, but it's going into November. I mean, teams are already kind of getting their people back already and such, and new signings too. I mean, Coach McKinney over in Columbus, he has gone crazy on, it looks like, getting new folks into the building for the Lions from that are rookie talents. It looks like. So I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to talk about that first Fayetteville signing. That's all I'm saying. I want to see that come across because that's the one I'm especially curious about, is that team right now.
And to the fans out there that were always Fayetteville not being active, oh, they're being active.
Mm-hmm.
I know, personally.
Oh no, I mean they are. I'm just saying I want to talk about them. They're some of these guys that they get across. I'm waiting for that to hit finally. They did have the tryout, so that's happened already.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that discussions are already being made.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to talk about these guys. So the sooner I can, the better.
Agreed. I agree with you. You don't want. It's a saying that you can hear people live by. Is like, you'd rather be 2 steps ahead of the horse than 2 steps behind the horse.
Oh yeah.
And kind of ironic, it's a horse team. The Mustangs.
Right. And I mean, keep in mind too, Fayetteville is a completely new team. This isn't West Texas where you have, guys that were in your previous league iteration, or San Antonio where they did originally start out and had some guys. Cleve actually was one of them, funny enough. So this is a brand new, completely empty slate. That's
Correct.
why I want to see these guys come down, because I'm like, okay, who are we putting together? Who we stealing as well to get, maybe two.
And the Carolinas are a good football state. It's a good football state. They love football there in the Carolinas. They're going to find talent. Like you, everyone else is signing players besides Orlando and Fayetteville.
Yeah, Orlando. I'm wondering. I think it's because they are also still organizing a few things there, but I'm hoping that comes sooner rather than later too for Coach Walls.
But also, you got to look. It's not really officially free agency season technically. If you're not getting any type of signings by Thanksgiving, then there's red flags flying everywhere. So, but right now, I think the teams that are making signings right now are coaches that trust their players, that know who they are, and they want them.
Yep.
Now, when November 1st hits, that's when you could see other pieces fall. Like maybe Mason Espinosa returning to the Jacksonville start. No, that's not going to happen. But still, November 1st.
Manifested. Give it a little more.
Yes.
I actually know.
Get some new knees.
Here's one that's more realistic. I hope Daniel Smith signs back with them. I mean, Tommy Neely, I heard a lot of praise from him we heard a lot of praise from him for coaching and ownership last year. But Daniel Smith did have some nice moments when he was starting. So, and also Mason gave him a lot of praise too when they were bringing Mason back in and they had to swap out who was starting QB. So,
Daniel Smith, Quad City, then came over. Or was he Iowa?
That you know what? That's where I'm gonna have to
Who's the
double
Steamrollers or
check. Yeah,
Steamwheelers? Is that Quad City?
Steamwheelers is Quad City.
Okay, so yeah, he was Quad City. Then he went came. Okay,
Mm-hmm. No, that's right.
yeah. So many teams, names. There's so many.
Just gotta keep it all up
Mhm.
track. And I mean, plus with some folks, it's indoors. You can go to any of 3 leagues.
Yeah.
Within reason. Again,
Correct.
mid-season move. You're going to get a band hammer from any of the leagues. So keep that in mind.
That's a tradition that keeps on giving.
It is that is very much a staple
From
of
the
the
NAL,
sport.
from the IFL, CIF, they all do it. It's like band hammer, and like you're gonna have Thor
No sideways movement, only up, sir.
Yeah. You're gonna have Thor coming out of nowhere like a band here. Oh.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, hey, one last nugget here, and this is just because we talked about it. So Levesque is already on the coaches show train. They had one over at Ivy Park Sports and Grill over in Columbus, Ohio, with Coach McKinney. So they are getting that started up, and it's rolling. I am going to be checking it out after this recording because I want to see the banter, and if they bring up some old Empire references between the two guys now.
I highly think it's possible.
It is kind of strange seeing Levesque in a royal blue polo compared to his old orange and navy that he was wearing.
The thing is they won't call him the Emperor anymore, right? Is that his nickname's gone now?
Maybe they call him the Lion King. That's just me throwing some cheese on that. I'm seriously. I'm throwing a lot of cheese whiz on that title. So
the Lion King. Mufasa.
There we go.
But yeah, that is a unique. Wow, we were just mentioning that, and that was a nugget. That's interesting, but
yeah, go check that out. By the way, if you're
is it shocking? Fan. No, because we were just teasing it just like earlier in the show.
Oh, without doubt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but hey, new day in Columbus. Now they got a new coach's show, new coach, of course, as we've talked.
True.
New ownership, at least parts of the ownership. They're still like Josh and company, Casey. They're all out there still, just different structure. That's the thing. But we're seeing that. But yeah, I just thought I mentioned that we talked about the coach's show stuff. So yeah, there's another one. Go check that one out. And seriously, anytime we see a new coach's show or coach's shows come out for teams, we'll highlight them because they're great for, I think, local engagement. So like seeing Tom have, like Coach Manas have his, Columbus getting back into it, and they did theirs last year. Gibson, I imagine the Sharks are going to have a Gibson one again, so we'll be waiting on that one when that starts happening. And yeah, every other coach, if they're comfortable with it, I would love to see them have a coach's show doing updates just like the rest of these guys.
Better for the league, better for the fans to know what's going on with their organization. Yeah, perfect. That's what should happen. Sign you up. What the? You're getting Stefan Raychek stuff in here, bro?
I have been brainwashed by Stefan Raychek. It is now, I have to mention it now at the end of every show. And at the end of every sentence that I'm like, yeah, let's do that thing. Sign you up.
Yeah.
Sign you up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up here for our schedule episode. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Again, appreciate you guys tuning every week. After our live stream last time around, it was cool seeing all the people like, yes, a new Inside the Walls. It's been too long. I was like, yes, it has, and we're glad we're getting a little more consistent, getting some news out of the league. Should keep ramping up as the season goes on. We still need to schedule some interviews we've been wanting to do with West Texas. We will get those done. We've been busy, and we need to reach out to the Curtis family and see if we can get Leaf or anyone else out there, Coach Taylor as well. But we'll be reaching out to them and try and get those guys on the show. Otherwise, for now, be sure again follow us on social media at InWallsPod, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you are not watching the YouTube version, if you're listening to the podcast and say you want to, for some reason, see our ugly mugs on screen, hey, head on over to YouTube. hit the subscribe button on this video and click the bell. It builds morale, not only for you, but for us too. And without further ado, guys, if you are interested on joining up and checking out a season in the National Arena League, say you find our show and you're curious about arena football, well, hey, schedule's out. Talk to your teams in your local area. Get some tickets. Go out to a game this year. I mean, hey, you have guaranteed dates now this season. You don't wait around. Christmas is around the corner like we're talking. They might have some packages coming, so keep your eyeballs glued to your web browsers and these team websites, because they are going to be hyping up this season much sooner than before, and I cannot wait to see what the attendance looks like for 2023. For my co-host Jim Renier, I am Zach Common saying so long, peace out, catch you on the next one, and stay tuned.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, this is extra, people. I'm supposed to do this. I apologize.
Covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Kyleman and Jim Mernier.